Hey, what's up my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening process. And today is going to be a full moon energy reading for December 3rd, 2017. Like I always do, I break it up into a few different themes that I just talk about, and hopefully you can relate and benefit from it. And I'll see you guys inside. Thank you for watching. Number one, there's one thing I'm noticing in myself and other people is that what I would label as the old is falling away faster than ever before. What I mean by that is that old, referring to old emotional patterns, old behaviors of unconsciousness, old attitudes, old structures, pretty much anything, any energies and whatever manifestation they may take that is not in alignment with the higher frequency energies that are being present now on the planet are falling away. And this process of increasing the vibration and purging the lower density energies has been taking place for a long time now. Most of you can feel it. That's why you're watching this video. But it really seems to be happening faster, getting rid of bigger and bigger chunks of unconsciousness at a greater rate than I've ever experienced. I'm finding it easier to move through these cycles, and it's just a very accelerated raising of our frequency that's taking place right now. And oftentimes full moons or new moons or powerful astrological alignments, those of you who are real sensitive, you can feel it seems to be kind of taking whatever's going on in the collective and amplifying it. So this might just be more evident like today, and you might have been feeling this last week, old stuff coming up, but not ruining your week or month or year, but rather coming up and it's uncomfortable and it's gone. And then something else comes up and that's uncomfortable for a while, and then that too is gone. And just bah, bah, bah. It's fantastic. Now you guys are probably, I know sometimes it can, the way you can experience it is when an old misaligned emotional energy or something along those lines is coming up. If it's not yet resolved, it can start to attract and manifest itself in your regular life. So sometimes, for example, I'll give an example of what happened to me. One of the things that came up for me is that I realized how I'm always afraid to get in trouble. I'm 33 years old and I walk around with the same like paranoia I had back in like grade school of getting in trouble. There was a few circumstances that I went through this week while I'm staying at this place called Rhythmia. It's like this transformation retreat. And anyway, there's no worry to be getting in trouble. And yet there were circumstances I found myself in where I had that like paranoia of getting in trouble. And I was with my buddy, and he's like the opposite of me. He's like a rebel. So it was like, it made it, the situations kind of I attracted into my life to make me more easily able to see that. And I got to like the point of recognizing that there's something like playing out within me, but I didn't know where it came from. And I was seeing it kind of play out in my life, and there was like this emotional heaviness in my chest area. So I did this technique they taught me here, and I was able to really easily see it for what it was and release those energies. And I discovered when I was doing that, as this energy was kind of like lifting off of me, I realized that when I was younger in grade school, real young, like 10 years old, me and my buddies would go up to the store and like steal candy, and like when we got a little older, we'd steal cigarettes and stuff like that. I'm not a thief now. I was a little kid just trying to fit in. But anyway, because of that guilt I had, it caused me to feel always guilty, even though now I'm not doing any of those kind of behaviors. So anyways, that's just one example of unconsciousness making its way up into my awareness, my conscious awareness, in such a way that I could see it and release it, because it doesn't make sense to go through life worried about getting in trouble when the circumstance doesn't even make sense to feel that way. So that's just an example. That's kind of a softer example. You might notice this in your own way. But regardless, if you're just a little bit present and willing to take ownership of any heaviness you feel in your body, or even especially when unexpected circumstances arise in your life that seem like out of nowhere and produce that emotional charge, if you can take ownership of that and inquire within in your own way, I bet you'll be faster to discover the origin of it and allow for a nice, smoother release. Number two is that a consequence of this, or a byproduct I'm witnessing, at least in my own life and the people I've been around lately, is that as there's been all of this release and these insights, it's giving way to, there's like a lot of room in our consciousness space now where our higher self or our spirit can be more easily heard. And it's kind of giving way to new ideas, new ways of seeing everything, new perspectives, just having more of a practical ramification of, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it this way. Ooh, I have this new idea for this sort of project, and it really feels good, and it feels right, and it feels in alignment. That's kind of happening with me as well. Just this brand new thing is becoming more, it's becoming more solid in my mind. Like, yeah, I'm going to start working at this because it's exciting and it feels like I've created enough space to as I mentioned, give room to this thing that I can really start taking action on. But here's the only little thing about that. It's that I think today is the start of Mercury retrograde. So sometimes when this happens, at the beginning we'll have these like awesome ideas and kind of plans in a sense, but then it's sometimes not ideal to really plow forward with that. Rather, it's a good time to kind of go back and reorganize yourself and go back through anything in your life existing, ranging from relationships to where you live, to your career, etc. And you might feel called to kind of refine those things. But after all that refining is done, I would suspect that a few weeks from now, you'll feel like really freed up and ready, and you'll have the energy and the mental space to really pursue whatever dream is now emerging within you. Lastly, one of the primary things I'm noticing, sort of parallel, or maybe as a result of these other two things, is that there seems to be more of a priority of living in alignment with the whole. Truly, like really, not just saying it, but really submitting to the divine will. And the divine will expresses itself within you just in your own intuition, your own excitement, your own natural fondness of whatever life is showing you at that time. And it's, I think there's a greater awareness, a greater distinction between our own mental goals, our own our own self-interest versus what am I really here to do? What am I meant to express? What is welling up inside me, longing to be created or expressed out there in the world? And when we can tap into that divine flow, then for one, that's going to be the greatest way to achieve peace and happiness and all the things our mind says it wants. That's the best way to go about it. But also when people start really, again, submitting to the divine will, that's now more easy to detect inside of them, it's going to benefit the whole. It's what the world needs. So I've been finding that a lot in my life, being able to really quickly catch myself when I'm veering off in the headspace of, ooh, this would be neat, I could do it this way, and blah, blah, blah. And I could really get lost in the mental framework a little bit more than that feels right for now. So I find myself doing that and then kind of like bringing myself back, getting quiet and just listening. And I can usually feel what's right when I'm quiet enough. So essentially, I really feel like this planetary ascension, this waking up of humanity, the rising of all the light workers is starting to become more obvious, but in a way that I never anticipated. It's more like people are really getting back to nature, back to the roots, back to just the realization that all of life is precious, and every little piece of this life puzzle has its place. Everything is important, and we all have our place, we all have our role. I read, I don't know, I keep hearing it. I don't know if people are around here saying it, or I saw it on the wall or something, but it was an impactful quote, and I might not even do it perfectly, but it has to do with the world doesn't need another hero or something. It needs you. And I'm paraphrasing there, but essentially, you just being you is the greatest gift you can give to humanity, and it's also the best way to really feel happy. because all we really want is to feel whole, is to feel at home, and to feel at peace. And there is all of that in when we just let go. And again, I keep saying it, let like the divine will just express itself. We don't have to figure anything out. We don't have to force anything. We just have to be quiet and be willing to take action on our heart's passions and desires. And I just feel like people are going to start living their life more so like that. Where throughout history there are always those anomalies of people who would do that, but now I think people, just regular everyday people, are going to start like stopping what they're doing and pausing and saying like, this doesn't feel right anymore. And even though it might be inconvenient to make this shift in my life, it's more unpleasant to remain in something that I know doesn't feel right, rather than to kind of burst into the unknown guided by this faint intuition. So anyways, my friends, that's my intuitive take on the full moon. Lately I've had mixed feelings about these energy updates, because I don't really want people to have the perception that I have any sort of insider information. I'll just be quite frank with you. The way I do it is I just pay attention to what's going on in my life. I work with a lot of people going through a spiritual awakening, and I notice patterns. And from that, I get intuitive. My intuition always lets me know which things to talk about. It's nothing I really do. It's just kind of a letting go thing, and just talking about what comes up for me. And the real magic is within you. It's not that what Victor's saying, I'm just a conduit. It's you lining yourself up with sources of information that are relevant and will resonate and assist you at the time. Sometimes it might come from me, sometimes it might not. It doesn't matter. It's not about me, it's about you. You are starting to wake up to the ability to manifest, again, reflections and sources of information in your life, assistance that will help you continue to grow and expand. I just want to make that very clear about these, okay? Anyways, my friends, thank you for watching. It's my last day here at Rhythmia. Some of you guys have been kind of following me on Instagram and know I've been here on this awesome retreat. It's been an amazing experience, and I can't wait to get back. Next week, I'm going to upload a bunch of videos documenting my experience. You can look forward to that. Otherwise, have an amazing day. I'll speak to you soon. Peace.